Good morning for the first day of spring. Do you think anybody would be crazy enough to try to ski that 10,633 foot peak? I don't know, but let's go find out. Along the dry outwash embankment of Meadow Canyon, we have a good approach to Meadow Peak. The snow slope, which faces northeast, is perhaps one of the most inviting snow slopes, skiable snow slopes that you'll see in the Lemhi Range. Meadow Peak is framed on the right by Umbleby Peak and on the left by Bell Mountain. The Clapper Goats Are Us, Incredible Hulk, Rust Peak, the Game Traverse, Squatu, Diamond Peak present a wonderful alpine scene in this desert range. Before we get into deep doo-doo, we'll park the pickup and get the trail bike out to head in. We might be able to get really close to the base of the mountain on the motorcycle too. I'm going to try to go up into that point, then we'll put the skis on and hike up. Well, it's a fairly cool, blustery day. Actually not all that bad of a ski day, but we're going to need the luck of the Irish to do this. Come along. I think we can get the bike up there just a little bit further towards that snow tongue. We'll hike up the dry slope and then out onto the snow. It looks like there ought to be adequate snow cover. A little bit lean in spots, but that looks like one good skiing mountain. The peak immediately to the south of Meadow Peak is the Incredible Hulk, and it is truly incredible. We're hiking on foot now, and what is incredible about this hike is we've been able to trail bike up to within 300 feet vertical of where we can come in the summertime when it's perfectly dry, so the access is exceptionally good to this mountain. It's a blustery day, as we said, but the furnace is working overtime, so let me take off a layer and make an adjustment stop here. Meadow Peak is offset from the main crest of the Lemhi Range and juts out prominently into Birch Creek Valley. And like most Lemhi peaks, it is scenic and beautiful. Our road ahead will take us up to the snow. The peak gets its name from the two prominent meadows. There's a subalpine meadow in that area, and then quite surprisingly, that's not the summit, but just beyond that point sits a wonderful, expansive, high alpine tundra meadow just below the summit. I'd say this is our cue to put on ski boots. Looks like there's just a little bit of wind and a little bit of sunshine around this place from time to time. We'll ski up the ridge, and the summit is in that direction. As we change boots and put on the skis, why don't we just stop in this lovely, warm, protected area to get some lunch. This will probably be about the last warm spot we're going to encounter. Looking across Birch Creek Valley to Nicolia, the Beaverhead Range, and the Idaho-Montana Continental Divide. Blech! I'm not sure how skiable this stuff's going to be. It's pretty crusty. I'm glad I brought my ice axe. We're rounding a corner here. We have a view up the valley to Gilmore Summit. With a view of Sheep Mountain. And shortly we'll be approaching our subalpine meadow. This is the subalpine meadow of Meadow Peak. We're looking across to the knoll. Limestone rock strata. On the side of Meadow Peak. And that'll be our main task ahead of us for the next hour or so. This would be lovely camping up in here. Diamond Peak just barely visible. Our neighbor to the south, Incredible Hulk. The wind isn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be today. Right now it's quite lovely. All right, let's get a move on. Isn't this nice in through here? The subalpine meadow of Meadow Peak. This will be our hardest work at hand just ahead of us. At a resting spot on the face. We're having to work to gain every foot of elevation. The truck is parked out in the Meadow Canyon outwash. And we have some scrambling to take us up to the tundra meadow, which begins at the crest right there. And this is why Meadow Peak has its name, for this tundra meadow at 10,300 feet. The actual summit is straight ahead. The believed first recorded ascent of Meadow Peak was in September 1989. I built a little tiny cairn. We'll see if we can find it today. The tundra meadow this high in the Lemhi Range is a surprise. View south Remember the names of those two peaks? We're looking across Birch Creek Valley to Copper Mountain in the Beaverhead Range. Nicolia. Lead was discovered there in the early 1880s. Smelter was built along with a small town. Lasted probably about 10 years until the ore ran out. 18-mile peak. And north. The tundra meadow of Meadow Peak. And our last pitch to the top. How many times do I have to say, keep going? There's the summit, finally. These things are never easy. Okay, here's the carrot. The opportunity to stand on the summit of Meadow Peak, elevation 10,633 feet, and when we ski down it will be the highest ski descent for me, and most likely it will be a first ski descent of this mountain. Let's take a look around. This is one golden carrot, folks. Umpleby Peak, named for Joseph B. Umpleby, the pioneer geologist of the Lemhi Range, at the head of the West Fork of Bell Mountain Canyon. That would have been a Pleistocene glacier. It's easy to see remnants of the glaciers when there's so much snow like this. All right, hang on to your seat, folks. 11,612 foot Bell Mountain. Some say it's named for its bell shape. Most likely it was named for Robert Norman Bell, Idaho's first state mines inspector, a true cheerleader for the mining industry at the turn of the century. Bell's neighbor to the south, the Clapper. Goats are us. The baseball peaks. Home, first, second, third. Lexi's Peak and Amy's Peak. Incredible Hulk, Diamond Peak. In front of Diamond Peak would be the Brow. At 11,005 feet. The new map makes it 11,000 foot peak. The old map had it just under 11,000 feet, by the way. The Riddler. You can just barely see Lame Jake, Squaw 1, Squaw 2, the Game Traverse, Rocky Canyon, as we look southeast towards Idaho Falls. On a very clear day from Idaho Falls, you can just barely see this summit. Birch Creek, the highest peak in the Beaverhead Range. Scott Peak, named for Winfield Abshire Scott, a pioneer settler in Birch Creek. Meadow Peak's distinctive tundra meadow. Let's focus in between Umpleby and Bell Mountain. to the Lost River Range, Bora Peak, state's highest mountain. On Umplebee's 1916 map, first topographical map of the region, which showed 1,000-foot contour intervals, he pegged that at about 11,000 feet and called it Chilly Mountain. It wasn't until 1929 that Bora was discovered as the highest peak in the state, named for the Lion of Idaho, William Bora. Umplebee Peak is 10,715 feet high. Official names recognition for that summit is pending. The Targhee National Forest has just approved, and because it sits on the boundary of two national forests, we're waiting for the Chalice National Forest vote of approval. The best examples of fossils, best preserved examples of fossils I've found in the range are located right at the summit. And the best way to climb Umplebee is to head up to the saddle, skirt the cliff band, and then up that scree field. I climbed it up the Class 4 cliff there, which I don't think I'll ever do again. Anyway, Umplebee is a very interesting summit. North of Umplebee, on the crest of the Lemhi Range, the knoll, the Medusa, which has about 10 heads, all over 10,000 feet. Mount Inspiration and Perspiration are in that area. Rainbow Mountain, Trail Peak, Sheep Mountain, to Gilmore Peak, Portland Mountain, and north towards Lemhi Valley. The Spring Mountain Mining District, former town of Hahn, we have an excellent view in all directions from Meadow Peak. Oh, it's crusty, but skiable. Patent pending. Actually, that crust wasn't too bad. It's 3:30. The lift will be closing soon, but what the heck, let's steal one last look. Pardon my ego. We've got a bit of a dead end here, I'd say. Skis off, and then we'll have to try to find a way down to the lower meadow. How many different ways can I say crust? Oh, we just got through with the most awful, ugly, breakable crust you'd ever want to ski. Now we're at the lower meadow. Well, I hope you have enjoyed skiing with the Shadow. We're about ready to wrap this up. The skiing part anyway. We'll have a little hike out with the motorcycle. And skiing into the sunset. This is Rick Bogger from Targhee National Forest, Dubois Ranger District, Idaho. Happy trails to you. Trails end. Thank you for coming along today.